Ubizan de Jinikas, mi iwite Kashiguna Abakuka gain Danakian, mi Dashma Shibi Gasoyan, Ma Ushkonegunning, Umakea, and me wenji Kentamani Ojibwe Muan, Nigi Atawigi, Gogin Gilga Chaya Wajiga. Me Penegogi Ojibwe Muad, me Dishio. When you get Kendaman, my name is Lee Staples, or Anishinaabe name is Obizan. I live in Hinckley. I'm a St. Croix band member. And the reason I know Ojibwe is because I was raised by older people. And that's all I heard growing up was Ojibwe. So that's why I know the language. Okay? I get Najawadne with the Nisha Tao and Anishinaabe. And Nendog was it in Anja Kid. Gaga game in the one was winning as you win Jagade. Me with the Nagabi non Kea Yamaka. Gego and Gego, we guess say with the Yamagastano, na Kinagaish own way was it out in Shanabe. Me way na Kamigis award with the Binishke with the in the Dagushimonad me with it in the Wawabamat Kina note in the way Maganan. Mention the ways it down. I just did a short, quick summary explanation of that place we go to when it is time for us to change worlds. What happens is our physical body gives up in some form or fashion, and it is our spirit that travels on. And so there is another existence for us beyond this world. And there was a place given to us as a people in the West. It's called, in our language, Land of Everlasting Happiness is the closest translation. There is no dust up there, and everything we were given as a people, that's what happens. It's a happy place. And also when they get up there, you'll have a reunion with all your loved ones that went on before you. It's a short explanation about where we go when we pass on. We basically change worlds. So I just might add, one of the things I always talk about is that each and every one of us have been put on this earth for a reason. There is something we are to accomplish while we are here. Those Manidug put on us on earth for a reason. And for us to find what that is and accomplish it while we're here on this earth. And I always think it must be a wonderful feeling for those that accomplished what they were supposed to while they're on this earth. It must be a good feeling when you go down that path to realize you accomplished what you were supposed to. And that's what I call Anishinaabe success. Okay?
Can you discuss with us how the life we lead on earth affects us when we pass?
It's important that we have that spirit within us that's Anishinaabe, and we have to take good care of that spirit while we are on this earth, that we do not cloud it over with negativity, and that we also follow our teachings and our traditions that we are given as a people. What that does is nurture our spirit. Also, by learning the language and speaking the language, that also nurtures your spirit. And that when it comes to anger, that's one of the most dangerous things for our spirit. It's important for us to forgive those people that upset us, and to put our tobacco offering for them to vent, to get it all out, and then to put a tobacco offering for them. Our teaching as an Anishinaabe is that even If a person were to kill your closest friend or closest relative, the bottom line is you have to forgive that person. You can't be full of anger within, and that is one of the ways to take care of your spirit. And it was also that I mentioned that it's important to us to accomplish what it is we're supposed to while we're on this earth. So what we do here on earth is really important for later. Okay?
Can you describe the migration story?
Yo. Anu nanaga duendam hanin kea. Gazin dashan damamba niu. Ni aus kweanga awan shanabe. Ki mune nama shikita magasete ope madasun. Sketa shao ni gane manedo ipishe giwe. Mi dashma. Ginan dwewe mada no we jamanadu man mada bedawushing. Amakea danata muanda awan shanabe. Mi dashwite o gitchigaming ipizage weta amanidu. Ipamajata. Mi goma bangi winidashan daman. I was talking about this manidu that came from the ocean and brought those teachings for us as a people. The Creator recognized how our people were hurting way back, and called on Manidu to come and help the people. And part of that, during that migration or that journey, the people were told to, they're evidently on the East Coast and were told to journey inland to find these bodies of water where there was wild rice, where there was food in those lakes that would help sustain our people. And that's what happened with our Anishinaabe people. They came from the east and kind of traveled down the Great Lakes area and here into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan.
So, would you know some of the trade items that revolutionized traditional Ojibwe lifestyle during the fur trade era?
Certainly, it changed our way of hunting with the arrival of guns. Prior to that, we used our bow and arrows, brought a lot of utensils. I imagine stuff to use to trap the animals. A lot of those that changed with that, but that wasn't so bad. What was worse was, along with that, they brought the Christians and the Christianity, which is far, far more damaging to our people than anything else. They brought that over with the idea of civilizing the Anishinaabe people, and they really did us injustice. A lot of our Anishinaabe people abandoned their teachings and their ways. And that was the worst thing, and also resulted in the loss of our language. And that's something that we're working on now a lot. Most communities bringing back the language and bringing back the teachings that we had, especially in and around that, respecting the spirit that exists within everything. It's one. It was one of the most damaging things that happened to us as far as I'm concerned. Not the guns and the trapping equipment and the knives, and of course the booze was bad too, though. The alcohol. Yeah. That wasn't good.
What types of activities were considered women's work?
Well, certainly taking care of the family and cooking was considered more of a woman's job in that time. Tanning hides, working on hides. I don't think necessarily that they hunted so much. It was the man that hunted. But they hauled wood, though, too, which some can view as a very masculine type thing to do, but that's what they did. Their sewing, their beadwork. I mean, we have some men that are great beadwork, do great beadwork, but in those times it was predominantly women that did that.
And you also mentioned men do hunting. Is there anything more that they do to it's considered their work?
Well, they're considered protector, one who took care of and protected the family. You're asking what other type of stuff did they do?
Yeah.
Certainly with the singers, ceremonies. Most of the healers, I would imagine, in those times were male, but there were also females. That's about all I have to add to that. It's just they were made sure that they were always they had plenty of food. So they did a lot of hunting. Probably hunted most of the day just to store up food for the long winter. Harvest their wild rice along with their women. Made sure that they had an abundant supply of food to always provide for their family. Okay.
Can you name the 5 original clans and the importance of them?
Holy moly. Well, let me just talk about Mille Lacs, because I do most of their funerals over there. The clans that we have that are there today are there's a few Meingans left, Migisi, which is the eagle, Wabijeshi, which is the marten, and bullhead, Indonesian Kasat, Wawasisi, Jejak. There's a few Makwas left. They're the ones that probably pretty much exist here too in the St. Croix area. What was the other part of the question?
What would their importance be?
It identified them as a group of people that had a lot in common. And in those times, they kind of lived together in clans. And there's also There was also, it wasn't allowed for them to intermarry within their clans. There's still some of our people that hold on to that teaching and make sure that their kids don't get involved with anybody from the same clan. And I had a relative, an aunt, tell me that she said, you know, there's some Anishinaabe people out there, that little space cadet, they're little missing a few cupboard doors. Or whatever, and then she said, you know, she believes that's because there's that intermarriage between clans. And so if you see some craziness in our community, that's where it comes from. I really believe that when she said that. So. Okay.
Could you tell 3 examples how Ojibwe language is different than English?
I've been teaching it. I can tell you it's different. Even in my knowledge of the language, there are times where I have real difficulty in trying to translate what's being said. In my mind, I know what I'm saying, but I can't translate it in English. But our language is so much more descriptive. Like there are words that have so much meaning, so much meaning included in, whereas English doesn't. And that is a language that we attribute to the Manitou, the Creator. That's also the other differences. The language we are given, it was a gift from the Creator, and we need to get back to using it. I always say that the Creator will be so happy someday when He hears all our Anishinaabe people speak in the language He gave them. And I'm hoping that it comes to that point, and I think there will be a change in our community once that happens. But you got to remember that we got cheated and lied to. You know, we were told to abandon our language, and we need to come back and bring our language back. Yeah. Because it feeds the spirit too. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of being cheated and lied to, could you tell the importance of treaties in Native Americans today?
It's a tough one. Certainly those treaties exist, but a lot of times they're not recognized by the larger society. You know, for example, we have a wide range of area we can hunt and fish in here in the Minnesota, Wisconsin areas. And I'm sure as we do it, a lot of the people from the other community, the Chimook community, does not recognize that. It's a law, it's a written law, and it has to be held up in that regard, but it's not a lot of times. A lot of times, too, our people were cheated when a lot of these treaties were drafted. They picked people from their communities that were friendly to the fur traders, to the Chimookaman, and designated them as chiefs, gave them a medallion, and had them sign a lot of these treaties, and a lot of these people were not necessarily recognized by the Anishinaabe as their leaders. So they were devious in getting those. It was a way to rip us off. No doubt about it.
So, can you give 3 examples of the importance of Dazukanag?
Adazukanan. Gi adazuka ko omdimui bangana taugita. Skete skai kitot gego ne baken bisendan yo. Adazuke anske manitug madeshin chigasa chika. Gitan dinan magi na natamago en ita shuen mi gug. En mine go sien magi go en natamago en ginigani min ko. Nigi ig. Na ne po magi ayam gat ko anishi kanomo and awan shanabe. Dinamanaja adano. Which be madasim and nagoge. Dinamanaja tut gegu. I was saying that the old lady that raised me did that storytelling or told those stories, those Adazukanan during the wintertime. And one of the things that she told me is try not to go to sleep and listen all the way through on these stories. It was really hard to stay awake because, when somebody tells you a story, your automatic response is to want to sleep. It's so soothing. But she said stay awake because the characters or the principal characters in these stories are Manidug. They're gifted beings. And I want you to listen to them and that they may take pity and give you something, some gift that can help you in your future. So that's why she wanted me to stay awake. Also, she knew a lot of those Adazukan, and she'd start right around November, the first snow, and tell them almost every night up until about the 1st of January, right around there. And then she would tell me, I'm going to retell those stories I told you so far. I want to send them. Manidug back, those characters back that are being talked about, to send them back where they came from. Definitely. She had a lot of respect for those Adazukanan that she covered. It's much, much different than the fairy tales that this other world talks about. That we're much more respected by our people. And then before you went and you were going to get someone to tell you one of those Adazukan, and you probably should take your tobacco with you. Maybe some tea or a little snack or lunch, and offer it to that storyteller in appreciation, and then they can tell you that story from there. So there's definitely a difference in our storytelling, our Adazukaning, than viewed by the other world.
What is the importance of Asema?
The Asema carries our message. Evidently, those Manidug, those powers that we pray to our social smokers. They love the Anishinaabe people's tobacco. Gegeto minuena mawana no den Anishinaabe muana the Semawan. Minawa gawin gaye gawazisi na awan Anishinaabe. And in the muada no Manidun no Seman buchagon natamago was it. I just said when the Anishinaabe people offers up their tobacco to those Manidug, they will be helped in some way, some form or fashion. You can count on that happening. So yes, the Sema is terribly important to us as a people. I think what everybody needs to do to bring peace to their life is to get up early each morning. Say if you're working, gotta be at work at 8, get up about 4 and spend at least a good half hour, 45 minutes offering your tobacco to all of those Manidug that we pray to as a people. Take a pinch for each one of them. Creator, got one in the earth, we got the 4 directions. Winnebago and his grandmother, we got those in the water. The trees, the animals, the thunder beings. Spend time each morning offering your tobacco to each one of them, asking help for a particular thing that's bothering you. Eventually, as you work your tobacco each morning, that you spend time meditating with those Manidug, listening. What happens is you develop a relationship with those Manidug, and also in time what happens is that your Asema collects where those Manidug sit, and in time you'll be helped. Meaning, you'll be given a vision or a dream. You'll be shown something. I can guarantee that can happen if you do that on a regular basis and continuously do it. And that in time. And once you get that message, it's incredible. It turns your whole life around. To know that there are beings out there, powers out there that care about you. I tell people this, but it seems to fly by them. But I'm hoping that people will do that and see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you have that first experience, that first dream. And when you get near them, it's incredible. It's like spiritual bliss. There is no other feeling around that's great. Even booze and drugs and sex could never get close to how wonderful that feeling is. So, Asema is important to us.
So, traditionally, who is responsible for educating the children?
Probably the entire community. Oh, things have changed nowadays. You know, long ago, or back 20, 30 years or so or more, even the uncles and the aunts played an important role in raising a child. They were able to discipline them. Now, if that were to happen nowadays, you'd have parents that get really upset. You know, that has changed. So it's kind of like that concept, it takes a whole community or a whole village to raise a child. Exists more in those days. And the other thing that's important too, it's important that what the parents do, the life that they live. You know, those old people that raised me, they always went to ceremonies and I went with. That was my upbringing. And I saw them. I saw that. I saw that old lady sewing most of the night away, preparing blankets for ceremonies. I'd see that old man go hunting for food they would offer up at. And that I would see them put their tobacco for those thunder beings, and they came over. I would see them use their tobacco when they go out and pick medicine. For the first time they ate in it wild rice and those animals. I grew up with that. And that became part of my life, and that's a part of my life today. They taught me by role modeling their appreciation of the culture. And that's not happening today. A lot of our parents are not living a good example for their children in that way. And that has to be there, has to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this discussion?
These weren't easy questions. Is there anything else I would like to add? Awi netago dena angwambe tuta o na shinabe dena ke kendanga o Ojibwe mwen nage dena bimwe do deo bimada so no ke agashi kano mago was young and shinabe young. Mi ma gawin in chitagi mina goes the seaman okay. And weighing na ko again the ship ma de sing me again and not the ma going ni gani minang. I just added that it's important for us as an Anishinaabe to embrace our identity, our teachings, and our culture, and our language. To work at bringing it all back to our communities. It can help heal our communities. A lot of those teachings were put there for a reason. And we need to recognize it and bring them back and don't believe what this Chimukaman has told us. To think all of that is inadequate, it's not. It's there for a reason, and we need to pursue it and bring back. That'll help us be healthier individually, as communities, as a people. Okay?
Miigwech Lee for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.